Good morning to all of you, my dear students. Today we will discuss a very important theory of international trade, which is known as Ricardian theory of international trade, or the classical theory of international trade, or it is also known as the theory of comparative cost advantage. David Ricardo, who was a very renowned economist, has developed this theory, and he published the theory in his book Principles of Political Economy in 1870. What he has tried to showcase in the theory was that the basis of international trade, or the reason or the causes which occurs the international trade theory, or due to which international trade takes place. David Ricardo said that the international trade theory, or the international trade, is governed by the comparative cost advantage rather than the absolute cost advantage, as suggested by Adam Smith. He said that a country will specialize in the production of that commodity in which it has a greater comparative advantage than another country, and it will import that commodity from another country in the production of which it has less amount of comparative advantage, or it has greater comparative disadvantage compared to the other country. That means international trade is driven by the force of specialization in the production and efficiency in the production cost. So any country which has a greater advantage in the production of a particular commodity will produce that commodity, and another country which has a more advantage in the production of another commodity will produce that particular commodity. David Ricardo has assumed certain assumptions while discussing the theory. Out of those assumptions, some important ones are: number one, there is no intervention by the government in the economic system. That means the economy is a free economy and the government has no role to play. Secondly, there is perfect competition in the commodity market. That means the produced by the country, and also the factor market, that is the market of factors of production. Number three, production function is homogeneous of first degree. This means that there is constant returns to scale in the economy. Number four, the labor market is perfectly mobile within the country, but it is perfectly immobile between the countries. Labor is the only factors of production used by David Ricardo. Next, there is only two commodities to be exchanged between the two countries, or there is a model in which he assumed two countries, two commodities, and one factor of production. And lastly, he assumed that there is no transportation cost. That means there is only one type of cost, which is the production cost, and other than that there is no cost of production. So after going through the assumptions, let us have a brief discussion on the explanation of the theory. Ricardo, as I said, has explained that international trade takes place because there are certain advantages enjoyed by certain countries over other countries. That means international trade takes place because different countries have different advantage or efficiency in the production of different commodities. According to him, a country which has a greater comparative advantage or its comparative disadvantage is the least will produce that commodity in which it has maximum comparative advantage, and it will not produce that commodity in which it has lesser comparative advantage. He has assumed two country, two commodity, one factor model, and he has forwarded a very simple example of this model through which he has explained the entire things behind the theory. So he has taken two countries. One is Portugal, another is England. He assumed two commodities. One is wine which is produced by both the countries. Another commodity is cloth, which is also produced by both the commodities. And he has taken one factor of production, that is labor. Here, one interesting point to be mentioned is that Ricardo has measured the cost of production in terms of labor hour required to produce one particular unit of a commodity. That means he has not explained the theory in terms of money, rather he has explained the cost in terms of labor hour required to produce one unit of a particular commodity. So he has two countries, Portugal and England. Both the countries produces two commodities, wine and cloth, and how there exists a comparative advantage and a comparative disadvantage can be explained with the help of this theory. So this is the theory. I hope the students, you can see this theory. This is from the book Liam Mithani, and in which you can clearly see that there are two countries, England and Portugal, two commodities, wine and cloth, and certain mathematical deductions. Now let us start first Portugal. So Portugal produces both the commodities wine and cloth, and Portugal requires 80 labor hour to produce 1 unit of wine and 90 labor hour to produce 1 unit of cloth. Similarly, England requires 120 labor hour to produce 1 unit of wine and 100 labor hour to produce 1 unit of cloth. In other words, in terms of Portugal, the domestic exchange ratio between the two commodities, wine and cloth, in terms of labor force required to produce 1 unit of output is 80:90. That means 1 unit of wine is equal to 0.89 unit of cloth, or 1 unit of cloth is equal to 1.13 unit of wine. That is the domestic exchange ratio of labor factor in Portugal. Similarly, in England, the domestic exchange ratio is 120:100. That means 1 unit of wine is equal to 1.2 unit of cloth here, and 1 unit of cloth is equal to 0.83 unit of wine. And here you can see this is 0.67 and this is 0.90. This means this comparative cost ratio for wine is 0.67 and comparative cost ratio for cloth is 0.90. This means in the production of both the commodities, Portugal has advantage over England, because Portugal requires 80 labor hour to produce 1 unit of wine, whereas England requires 120 labor hour to produce same 1 unit of wine. Similarly, in terms of cloth, Portugal requires 90 labor hour, England requires 100 labor hour. So it is very clear that in the production of both the commodities, Portugal has a comparative advantage or simple advantage over England. But if we look very minutely, we will see that Portugal has more advantage in the production of wine, because the difference of labor hour required is 40, 120 minus 80 is 40 labor hour is the difference between the two countries. So it has a more advantage in the production of wine compared to England. And in the production of cloth, the difference of labor hour is only 10. That means it has advantage. Of course, it has advantage in the production of cloth. Portugal has advantage, but compared to wine, it has less advantage in the production of cloth, because the difference of production of wine is 40 labor hour and the difference of labor hours in the production of cloth is only 10 labor hour. So though Portugal has advantage in the production of both the commodities, but if we compare the advantage, then we find that it has a greater comparative advantage in the production of wine and less comparative advantage in the production of cloth. So here comes the Ricardian doctrine. Now the Ricardo said that since it has more advantage in the production of wine, Portugal will produce wine only and it will not produce cloth. And since England has more disadvantage in the production of wine, so it will not produce wine and it will produce cloth in which it has less disadvantage compared to Portugal. So in Portugal will specialize in the production of wine and England will specialize in the production of cloth. And Portugal will export wine to England and England will export cloth to Portugal. So in this way, there will be exchange of wine and cloth between Portugal and England, and accordingly international trade will take place. So the basis of international trade as per the Ricardian theory of concept is that there existence of comparative cost advantage and the existence of comparative cost disadvantage. So Portugal has more greater comparative advantage of cost in the production of wine and England has less amount of comparative disadvantage in the production of cloth. So Portugal will specialize in the production of wine and England will specialize in the production of cloth. And the second point is whether by specializing in the production of wine and the production of cloth, both the countries will be benefited or not. This is a big question because this is a business and business will take place only if there is a profit for both the countries. So here comes in the role of domestic exchange ratio. Now, if there is no international trade, then the domestic exchange ratio of wine and cloth in Portugal is 1 unit of wine is equal to 0.89 unit of cloth. Now Portugal will exchange wine with England for cloth only if and only if Portugal gets more than 0.89 unit of cloth against per unit of wine. I repeat, Portugal will participate in the international trade with England by exchanging 1 unit of wine if and only if it gets more than 0.89 unit of cloth from England. And if this happens, that means Portugal is benefited from the international trade as it is getting more than the domestic exchange ratio. Similarly, for England, it will exchange 1 unit of cloth to Portugal if and only if it gets more than 0.83 unit of wine from Portugal. And if it gets more than 0.83 unit of wine against per unit of cloth from Portugal, then it will participate in the international trade and also England will be benefited by the international trade. So if this condition is fulfilled and if this condition takes place, then according to the theory of Ricardo or according to the classical theory of international trade or according to the theory of comparative cost advantage, there will be exchange of goods between the two countries, Portugal and England, and accordingly international trade will take place. So Ricardo has able to explain this situation, which is a refinement of the Adam Smith theory of absolute cost advantage, in which Adam Smith has said that international trade takes place because every country enjoys an advantage in the production of one commodity only. Now, in this case, one country has the advantage of producing both the commodities, but it has more advantage in the production of one commodity and less advantage in the production of another commodities. So this is the simple explanation of the theory, and the theory has also been criticized by many economists, citing certain disadvantages that is connected with the theory. First of all, the theory is something which is connected to only one factor of production, that is labor. But the economists said that there are more factors of production required to produce a certain commodity, and one factor of production only cannot produce a commodity. Second criticism is that assumptions of perfect competition in the labor market as well as in the factor market. The economists say that we do not face perfect competition in our real world. What we face is a monopolistic competition. So assumption or assuming perfect competition in both the market is not a realistic view. So that is another disadvantage of the theory. Then number 3, the theory assumes constant returns to scale, that is homogeneous production function, which is also unrealistic. And many economists has criticized the theory on this ground that we do not face constant returns to scale, or the factors of production or the production function is not homogeneous in real life. Then another certain criticisms related to this theory is mobility of labor force. The theory assumes that there is perfect mobility of labor within the country, but there is perfectly mobility of labor between the countries. So labor cannot move from one country to another country. But in modern times, in real life, we see that labor can move beyond geographical boundaries of a country. That means labor can move from one country to another country. So this assumption of immobility of labor between the countries does not hold good. So this is another criticism of the theory. Then the assumption of full employment. It said that the economy is under full employment, that is all the resources, all the factors of production, all the resources are fully employed, and there are no resources, no factors of production remain idle or unemployed. This is not the case, because there is always a possibility of unemployment or less than full employment in real life. Then there is another criticism is that absence of transportation cost. To simplify the explanation, Ricardo has assumed that there is no transportation cost. The only cost of production is the production cost. So, but in real life, this is not true. There is a huge cost of transporting a commodity from one country to another country, which add up to the total cost of the production, and also it increase the price of the particular commodity. So by minimizing or by keeping the transportation cost nil, it has tried to simplify the explanation of the theory, or the price is fixed based on only the production cost, and there is no transportation cost at all. Then another criticism is the two commodity, two country model. Many economists have suggested that one country is engaged in international trade simultaneously to various countries, and also there are more commodities involved in the international trade. So assuming that a country is engaged only with one country at a time and producing or exchanging only two commodities is not a realistic view. So this has been considered as a disadvantage or as criticisms of the theory. So these are certain important disadvantages of this theory. And the theory is a very simple one. The whole theory is explained with the example that I have given to you. And in this way, the Ricardian theory of international trade has been explained. But one very important point to be noted here is that the Ricardian theory of international trade, as I said, is a refinement of the Adam Smith theory of international trade. Adam Smith said that international trade takes place, or the basis of international trade is the existence of absolute cost advantage. That means one country enjoys in the production advantage in the production of one commodity, and another country enjoys advantage in the production of another commodity. So both the countries will produce one commodity each, and that commodity will be exchanged between them. But in certain places, in many places of the world, we have seen that one country enjoys advantage in the production of both the commodities, but still there is international trade. And the basis is explained by Ricardo through this theory of international trade. Why? Under such a situation in which one country enjoys advantage in the production of both the commodities, and still it does not produce both the commodities, it produces one commodity and export it to the other country, and the other commodity is imported from that country by the first country. So with these words, I conclude the explanation of this theory. I hope you have able to understand the theory. As I said, I tried to make it as simple as possible for a very simple understanding, and I wish and hope that you have able to understand this theory. Thank you.